How is it going, guys? Winner Kills here, and welcome back to Locals feature matches. Yes, they are back. They are back and better than ever. I think we haven't had Locals feature matches on the channel since, I believe, March, so very excited to have them back on the channel with you guys. And if you guys are excited, leave a like, and hope you guys are looking forward to many more in the future. And also, been recording all these matches in 4K. So if you can, watch these videos in 4K, because the dual footage itself should be a lot higher quality, a lot easier to see which cards are which, and I hope you guys enjoy that nice little quality improvement, because I've been meaning to film them in 4K for a little while, but now just getting around to do so, I figured it'd be a good way to start things back here. So we do have Cyber Dragon, but more importantly, Invoked Cyber Dragon, as you see, versus Invoked Mekk. Obviously, Invoked Dogmatica is a pretty strong strategy as well, but I believe he's not running the Dogmatica engine. Now, I don't think he's not running because he doesn't think it's good. I think it's just personal player preference, you know, and just running good old classic Invoked Mekk, because it still is a pretty strong strategy, especially with cards like Triple Tactics Talent. So, he will end his turn there on the Security Guard, opting not to go for any Mekka plays because he did commit the normal summon to Cyber Dragon Core, and going for an Artifact Sanctum here in the standby phase, and going for none other, I believe probably in the standby phase. And one thing I always regretted about shotgunning standby phase Sanctums was from when I was in an online tournament, and shotgunning a Sanctum rather lost me the game in the standby phase because he was able to still infinite and permanence it. So I feel like in some cases it's always a little better to hold the Sanctum if you can, just for that niche interaction, until they at least make a commitment to the board where they're no longer able to freely imperm it. But then, of course, we do have Forbidden Droplet, so obviously things have changed a little bit since then. But, you know, I still feel like maybe it's a pretty good rule of thumb. So, Blue Sky resolving freely here for 2. The unsuspecting Cyber Dragon player leaving a free 2-card column. And once Indigo hits the field, we're going to see Cybernetic Overflow banish Core and Noxer from the hand, and Core from the grave, to pop 2 non-targeting, I believe. So, goodbye Blue Sky and goodbye Indigo Eclipse, but hello Purple Nightfall. So Purple Nightfall is a pretty good card to have here, obviously. And we'll be able to swing over that of the Artifact Scythe. So clearing that off the board. And Alistair, unfortunately, a little too small to do any damage here, and still also locked out of the extra deck. So only able to deal 300 points of damage here. And Mystic Mine in hand as well. Invocation in hand also, and a copy of Yellow Star. So, you know, obviously the Invocation won't be doing much this turn. Looks like he's debating on playing this copy of Mystic Mine. And it looks like he's actually going to, while he has more monsters of his own. So that's going to obviously keep the Mystic Mine alive through the end of his turn. And basically, you know, putting the ball in his opponent's court, saying, you know, if you start, you know, putting anything else onto the field, you're going to start having to, you know, play into my own Mystic Mine. So it kind of forces him to keep his monsters even and not really go much past that. And if he clears any of his cards, and also here's a pretty interesting interaction as well with Purple Nightfall in play. Since both players did control the same number of monsters on the activation of Core, he will chain Purple. And now he's sort of, you know, swindled him into this Mystic Mine, because now, just like that, he controls more monsters than that of his opponent. So, Core here, Core, I believe, would still resolve, because Mystic Mine says the effects cannot activate. So Core is already activated since there were the same number of monsters on the field. So even though by the time Core would resolve, he controls more monsters, I believe it would still resolve since it already was able to actually activate, because the effect of Mystic Mine was not active at that current moment. At least that's how I believe it would work. So now we're going to see a Chimera Tech Mega Fleet Dragon, and that will do one thing, and that is to equalize the amount of monsters on the field to hopefully turn off this Mystic Mine during this up-and-coming end phase. And it does look like our Invoked player has a copy of Psyframe Driver, Most Loyal. Although there's one thing I can say is that the Psyframe engine seemingly gets better and better every time I see it rotate in and out of the meta. Is something I also might consider to play myself, even though I hate drawing Driver. I absolutely hate Driver. All my homies hate Driver. But, you know, it's still pretty darn good because of the negation and because of the destruction. But that's going to do it for our Cyber Dragon player. Passing it back over to our Invoked player. My good friend Kevin there on the right. And been a long time Invoked player, Invoked Mekk Knight player. Also plays Dinos. You guys have seen him on the channel quite a few times. I think he's also played Infernoble Knight as well. And I think he's also played a little bit of Adamancipator. So he's played all sorts of things recently. But for this particular tournament, on that of the Invoked Mekk Knight, a good old classic. So going for Alistair, putting a copy of Mekaba on the field, and linking off this Alistair here into a copy of Al. Now, this is that situation, obviously, with Dragoon of Red Eyes being legal at this point of this video's filming. You know, Almirage could serve good purpose here as just extra link material. You know, putting the Alistair in the graveyard for extra fusion plays. So we'll see a blue sky after he sets a few back row. And looks like, I believe, Cyberload Fusion, I think is its name. Cybernetic Fusion. So he's going to, I believe, attempt to go for a Rampage Dragon here. And it looks like the Rampage will attempt to pop 2. And I don't think he actually decides to let it go through because I think he's going to negate. But I don't believe he actually would be able to negate because of Magical Meltdown. So this might just be a misplay on both players' behalves. I'm not entirely sure. I'm sure somebody will rectify it in the comments as per usual. That's really just... side note, my one goal as a player is to just learn rulings a lot more. I mean, this might be a pretty obvious ruling with that of Meltdown. But just a little side note, one thing as a player that I want to improve upon over the next year or so is just my understanding of rulings in general. So Mekaba will negate that Rampage Dragon, whether he was actually able to or not. So he will not lose his back row, and one of them being Triple Tactics Talent. New card from Rise of the Duelist, of course. Will be able to activate one of 3 effects, look at his opponent's hand, and shuffle 1 card in it back into the deck. Either draw 2 cards or basically change of heart 1 monster his opponent controls. And he will to Forceful Sentry one of them back into the deck. And we're going to see that Vert Anaconda now, linking off Blue Sky and Almirage. And you might be able to guess what your boy Vert Anaconda is going to be sending to the graveyard, Anaconda. And, well, first things first, let's go ahead and make another copy of Invoked Mekaba, because why not? Banishing Scythe from his opponent's grave and banishing Alistair from his. So he's going to pay 2,000 now to be able to send 1 Polymerization, Normal, or Quick Play or Fusion spell from his deck to the grave, and then it basically copies that effect. So Red Eyes Fusion will be sent, and then alongside that, sending a copy of Red Eyes and Dark Magician, the classic OGs from way back when. I always find it interesting how Konami, in a few instances now, 2 at least that I can think of, has been able to incorporate, you know, basically the 3 classic boss monsters into very potent meta strategies. The first one I think of is, you know, Blue Eyes Alternative Dragon, when Blue Eyes first became meta, and now with Red Eyes and Dark Magician joining the fight for Dragoon of Red Eyes. So pretty cool, I will admit, but, you know, Dragoon is something that I'm sure we're all going to be moaning and groaning about in a few months' time, but it is what it is. So we're going to head into game 2 here, and of course, as we do, if you guys do want to support the channel and are interested in that playmat that is on the right, their Toon playmat, they've got new iterations of it as well, and many other amazing playmats. Check out Imperium Duelist. You guys can get awesome playmats, deck boxes, dice, sleeves, and more on their site. Link down in the description below, and you can use that discount code WinnerKills10 off at checkout to save 10% off your entire order. And if you guys are buying anything on TCG Player, do not, of course, forget to use my affiliate link as well. And so, Invoked Mekk Knight here, going first, starting with a copy that I believe Alti Terraforming Very gorgeous. Going for Meltdown, and then actually just setting the Alistair here, which is a pretty... I mean, I don't want to say it's so strategic, but it's somewhat strategic as of a play. As you can see the rest of his hand, not too hot. Triple Tactics Talent, Lightning Storm, and Mind Control alongside that yellow star. So he could have potentially made a Mekk Knight play if he was playing, I guess, Morningstar, but have been a very lackluster play. So setting the Alistair does one of two things. Obviously, he'll be able to block damage with it instead of just normal summoning it. But, he could also potentially, when it does get attacked, he'll be able to flip it up. And then, if it does get attacked, I guess, flip it up and be able to search, because Alistair gets its effect when it is normal or flipped face up to search Invocation. Now, he could have potentially normaled that search Invocation and gone for Almirage and Secure Gardener and then put a Mekaba on the field. I'm not entirely sure why he didn't do that. Maybe there's some other overarching reason, but our Cyber Dragon player here will do the classic Dragoon pass play, essentially, and send off Dark Magician and Red Eyes and be able to pop that Set Alistair. So no searching here, actually. And it's going to get called by as well. He's just going to feel the need to burn that call by immediately and just says, know what, I'm not even going to give you a chance to have access to it. So Dragoon already doing what it's does best and is controlling the pace of the game here, especially in a simplified game state like this. Normal summoning core for Cybernetic Overflow, and obviously an illegal play happening here. Contact fusioning for that of the Chimera Tech Mega Fleet. Obviously, you cannot special summon other monsters for this turn after you activate Anaconda's effect, so this is an illegal play. Both players did not catch it, so it is, of course, accepted game state. Not much you can do there. But he will still continue, obviously, with his plays right there, going for the Lightning Storm to clear the Overflow, following up with Mind Control, and setting one, summoning a copy of Yellow Star. Now, if he, played that turn out legally and just left it with Dragoon and Core and Anaconda, he's still actually ending on a pretty decent field. I believe his Overflow still would have been live to some capacity, and I don't really know how much so our Invoked player would be able to come back this turn, but I guess one of the biggest factors is the difference in life points. He took a lot more damage than he should have with the addition of the Mega Fleet Dragon. So Vert Anaconda cannot actually resolve here, as he does not have the life points to do it. So just linking into it, just so, he doesn't get the monster back to his field off Mind Control. And it looks like we will see another Cyber Dragon Core come down. Going for, let's see here. He's got, of course, I believe another copy of Cybernetic Overflow, possibly within the main deck. He's going to go for Cyber Emergency. And then he's going to go ahead and activate the Cyber Emergency. And not really much else to be done here. So he's just going to go ahead and scoop him up. And yeah, just go ahead and decide to take it right to game 3. So a little bit of bumps on the way here, a little bit of misplays, a little bit of hot cheats, but it is what it is. People do make mistakes. There's really not much I can do about it while I'm filming them. These things just happen. They happen across locals, all over the world. It is what it is. So here in game 3, I believe Invoked is going to have to go first. You're going to want to go first here. Opens up Gamma and a copy of, I believe, Red Eyes. So not the greatest hand here. So going to obviously search Invocation, link for Almirage, link for the Secure Gardener, which I actually didn't know until recently came in ultra rare. And then going to summon out Mekaba in defense position, of course, to help play around that card known as Lightning Storm. Recycle back the Invo into the deck and Alistair to the hand. And that's going to do it for his turn there. I believe drawing Cyberload Fusion has a copy of Magical Meltdown. So debating on whether or not he wants to let that go through, and it looks like he will. So we'll go ahead and search a copy of Al the Stroker. And that'll be a good solid normal summon here. Since I don't believe he has Cyber Dragon Core in hand, he does have a Noxer and what looks to be Cyber Dragon Hers. So there, I think there is a play to be made there. So yeah, it looks like he will discard Hers off of the Noxer And he'll go ahead and use the effect of Hurt in the graveyard now, I believe, which I think can search Cyber Dragon. Forgive me if I'm not, you know, super up to date on all of their effects. I do like Cyber Dragon as a deck that I do kind of want to try and pick up. So yeah, I'll be able to search Cyber Dragon there. It's a deck that I actually have started picking up some cards for, and wouldn't mind, you know, picking everything up else in the future. So there's Machine Duplication. He's obviously got to say no to that. That card is would be a big plus on the side of our Invoked player. So got to turn that off. He does have Alistair in hand. He does have Cyber Dragon. And it looks like that's going to do it for his turn. I think he probably could have done something else. Maybe gone into a Mekka of his own. But, you know, I think because he still hadn't committed his normal summon to Alistair. So, I mean, unless I'm missing something, I think he could have put a Mekka of his own on the board. But either way, Sanctum going to hold down the fort here, as he does not have a trap to discard to negate. But when, of course, the Scythe activates, he will not respond to it. He's choosing not to. But either way, he'll just go into the battle phase and swing over both of his monsters for a whopping 1,100 points of damage. 800 over Noxer and 300 over the Scythe. And, you know, Scythe hurts obviously quite a bit, but in a situation like this where you already have a pretty decently established board, it obviously doesn't do as good as a job. So, board cleared. And Cyber Dragon will be able to hit the field, no problem. Alistair's going to try to resolve, but Mekka says otherwise, discarding Gamma. And has a copy of Invocation in hand, which is actually not going to be too helpful since his Alistair did get negated and banished, so it's not in the graveyard for him to use. Going to now has a Invocation play here now with an Alistair in his opponent's graveyard, I guess. Since it was put there via, you know, the battle phase. So, making it live through creative means to get in Mekka on the field. And that will do it for his turn. Both players tied at 6,900 life points. Nice. Going to start his turn now with Alistair for a copy of Invocation. So, advantage definitely in the favor here of the Invoked Mekk Knight player, and we'll see Vert Anaconda. And he will pay 2,000 as cost. Mekka is going to try to negate, of course, as you would want to. And he's going to respond with a Mekka of his own. Luckily, he has another monster in his hand that isn't Red Eyes, because he'll need that Red Eyes to even be able to resolve this Red Eyes fusion to begin with. That'll get a Dragoon on his side of the field. He'll burn for 2,100 damage. And that will be a game right there. Yes, they did shake hands, but they did use hand sanitizer afterwards, I can assure you. So, yeah, that's going to do it for this match. Round 1, Invoked Mekk Knight taking the match 2-1 against Invoked Cyber Dragon. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to, of course, leave a like and check out the ways to support the channel down below. And, of course, as always, Winter Kill signing out. We'll see you guys in the next one. And of course, last but not least, a massive shout out goes to my Divine level channel members here on YouTube, Academic Thick, Travis Harris, and Zors. Thank you guys so much for your continued support.